And welcome to the Bigger Flip Show. My name is Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping houses. Or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So I had a question. It's how do you convert some of your leads into listings? So, I was just looking last year. I don't think I did one listing. The year before, I did 8 listings. It just comes out sometimes. So I take a few things as a given, and I want to explain. When people ask me what I do, I say I do 2 things. I buy houses that need work. I fix them up and I sell them. And I'm also a traditional realtor. And I want to make it clear to sellers all the time that if I believe it's in their best interest to list, I want to get that listing. So first of all, even the lead information gathering process, if they say it's in very good condition and they don't talk about that they have a speed issue, right? They have time, and it's in good condition, my leads managers will immediately ask them, that sounds like something you want to list. Do you have somebody to list it with? And then sometimes the truth will come out and they go, I can't list it because blah, blah, or I don't want to list it because of blah, blah. But if they say it's in great condition and they're not in a rush, and they have someone to list it with, I may not even go on the appointment, right? And dozens, maybe 100 times I've gone on an appointment where I thought I was going to buy a property and I ended up listing it, and the other way around also. I thought I was going to list a property and I ended up buying it. Now, there's this underlying thought process that some gurus push that you should not be licensed if you're a real estate investor, because buying a property at a discount is a violation of your fiduciary responsibility to do what's best for a client. And if you're licensed, then you're doing something wrong. I could not disagree with that more. I think everybody should be licensed. I don't think these things are at odds with each other ever. So I have never really seen anyone, one case was iffy, where they could have listed, but they decided not to list. There's almost always a very strong reason why they don't want to list. I don't think there's a person alive that doesn't know that you can list a property with an agent to sell it. They've seen for sale signs all around their neighborhood their whole lives. So typically we're buying properties for people that can't or won't list. So can't because the property's in horrible condition and anybody who would buy it would not get a mortgage, or they believe strongly that they'd be asked to make repairs to it and they don't want to spend any money on it. Or there's some kind of municipal issue where they can't provide clean title and I'll buy it and clean up the title issues, or they won't list. So that might be a situation where they had a terrible experience with a realtor and they never want to be in that again. They had a terrible experience with a buyer who had a mortgage contingency, jerked them around for 4 or 5 months, and then flipped, then said goodbye, and they ended up making less on the property, or they just ended up staying longer than they wanted, or they couldn't get the property that they wanted to move into. And also a time issue, right? We're going to talk more about time tomorrow, but if someone really has to close quickly, right? I bought properties from people in 2 weeks in New York. That's quick. Super long time, or sometimes they need extra time, right? So they want to go into contract, but they don't know where they're going yet. So they want an open, sort of a very long-ended contract or an open-ended contract. Those are people who can't or won't list. It's very rare that someone can list them all. So sometimes people will call me and go, my property's in terrible condition. I'll go there and I'll go, listen, this is not in terrible condition, right? You should list it. If you were my brother, you were my sister, I would tell you to list this property. You are going to leave $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 on the table if you sell it to me. I'm happy to give you a number and you can sell it to me, but I advise you to list it and get the most money out of it. And I tell people all the time, if you're looking to squeeze the most money out of it, you should list it. But just understand the pros and cons of both sides, right? And I can go through that in another video. I don't want to do that all day. But so when I go somewhere and I look at what they answered, how they answered the questions, I talk to them about it, and we usually ask them, why wouldn't you list it? If they have a good reason, I'm going to assume they're going to list it with somebody. And here's a very important thing. If you find the property, and I made this mistake a long time ago, if you find the property that you know they could list, there's no reason for them not to list, and you think you're going to somehow sneak in and give them a really low offer and get it, chances are they're going to end up listing it with somebody else. So I want them to list it with me. So very often I'll give 2 numbers. I'll say, listen, you can list this if you want to put up with the uncertainty and the inconvenience of it, or you can sell it to me. Either way, I'll get you the most money for it as an investor buyer or as a realtor. All right. Thank you very, very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And thanks for the suggestion.